Good day everyone. Today guys, I'm gonna answer the top most questions asked about the Advancial processing. Last week, I created a video about Advancial, and after that, I received a lot of questions. So now, I'm gonna answer all those questions. And most of these questions, I forwarded directly to the Advancial company. And they answered it via email to me. So I'll be discussing in a few minutes, and we'll tackle some of the other topics as well. And I apologize for some of the things I discussed in my previous video. I think some of them were not really updated, or they were actually outdated, which I actually recently found out as well. So with this video, I'll explain more about it, and we'll discuss about the most common questions which were DM'd to my Facebook account. So if you want to learn about the answers to these questions, stay tuned and watch the video. I'm Nurse Juan Cruz, your OFW. So let's start. Question number 1. Can I process the auto loan even if I don't have a driver's license, foreign or US license? And the answers they gave me was, yes, we will need a clear copy of your current driver's license or international driver's license. So for me, I was a bit confused about their answer because they answered with a yes and it's like a no also. So I did ask for a follow-up question. So they definitely need a driver's license to get a loan, right? Then I also commented, will it matter if it's a foreign driver's license or do they need to get an international driver's license? Because here in the Philippines, we have a reciprocity with our license to the US, but we can also get an international driver's license if we have to. So we can actually use our driver's license when I arrive here, but it depends on particular states and they have a certain amount of period of when you can use that driver's license only. And their answer was, the applicant will need a driver's license or international driver's license. So meaning or, okay? And in order to proceed for the auto loan. So definitely you have to have one. So question number 2. What if the one getting the loan doesn't have a driver's license, but the husband or the partner has a license who actually doesn't work? Can they proceed with the auto loan? And their answer was, yes, they can proceed with the auto loan, but the husband or the partner will have to provide a source of income. So for us, this is a problem, right? Because most of us, particularly for the nurses, ladies are the ones who's getting the job, so the husband will come as a dependent and most likely they don't have a job offer. Then most of our ladies from the Philippines, they rarely drive, right? And normally for most of us, we depend for the guys or the husband to drive us around. So meaning the ladies do not have a driver's license. So for my follow-up question, so if the husband with license or with a driver's license has no income, they can proceed with the loan? Do you mean the loan will be under the husband instead? So Advancial replied, yes, that is correct to answer your question. The husband will have to be primary on the loan to proceed, but the applicant can ask more questions once they are in contact with the loan representative. So my advice for you ladies, try to get your license as soon as you can. Take the written test part of your driver's license as soon as you can. Try to get a schedule. It's only the written part. You don't really have to drive anything yet. So you just have to study for a few hours or read some of the manuals in order for you to pass the exam. And actually, if you're from the Philippines, sometimes you don't really have to study too much because some of the testing for the written testing areas, most of the answers that you need are actually posted in most of the walls in the LTO offices, which is really weird. Like they're encouraging you to cheat for the exam. So it's like an open book in a way. Then if you're confident enough, then try to get the actual driver's license for that country. If you were one of those people who asked me about these questions and had this same dilemma and you were able to fix this problem, please comment down below if what is the answer so we can share to the other who needs this advice. So next question. Number 3. Can I get an auto loan even if there's not an Advancial bank in my state? The answer is yes. You can receive an auto loan even if you are in the state that has no local branch. It's like for me, I'm based in Kentucky and there's no Advancial banks here nearby. My affiliated Advancial branch is actually located in Texas. So all the documents that I have to send them was done through emails and also through post mails. So you don't really have to be like in physical contact with them. I never actually met any of the Advancial staff or employees until now. Number 4, how much is the maximum loan for new immigrants? And Advancial replied, auto loan maximum is $25,000 US. So for most of us, I think this is a problem, particularly now wherein the market is really high. If you didn't know, here in the US right now, secondhand cars are really expensive, like super duper expensive versus a year ago. And buying a brand new car is almost the same price with a second-hand. The problem is some of the new cars with a chip shortage means there are some problems with the new versions right now. So that's why some of the people here are hesitating to buy a brand new car, because some of the new cars right now do have some problems, and I think some of them are relating it to the chip shortage. So if you buy a second-hand car right now, which is really expensive, sometimes it might not be worth it because of the additional costs that they're putting right now. So it's like, after a few years, do you think it's worth it? And if you opt to buy the brand new cars, you might have encountered some problems with the chips and everything. So it's like, damn if you buy a new one, damn if you buy a second-hand car. So it's really hard to decide nowadays. So because of the prices right now, I opted to ask another question or a follow-up question for this. So is there a chance for it to be increased for the auto loan? Because I know for a fact, I think some of my friends were able to increase that loan for more than $25,000. And I think I saw in some comments in the fora, they were able to increase it as well. So Advancial replied to me was, the maximum limit is $25,000. If the member goes over, they will need to pay out of pocket, which is actually nice. If you could, it's better for you to pay. This can also be discussed with a loan representative as well. So I think if you wanted to increase more, I think there's still a chance. You just have to discuss with your loan representative. I'm not really sure if how much they can give maximum. But for now, let's stick with the $25,000. Or better, just create an account first, then communicate with them. Maybe they can give you a better answer, like a direct answer. Most of the banks do not want to give like a specific amount. I think it depends on some factors that you have, particularly on your salary and other things. Number 5, how many months to pay for the contracts? Advancial replied, the payoff term is actually flexible, meaning you can choose from 36 months to 72 months. The longer the contract, the lesser amount you have to pay monthly. Then the shorter the contract, you have to pay more monthly for that. So you have to take those into considerations. But having a shorter contract means you have a lesser interest to pay. So most of the people who advise me is to get a shorter contract if you can. But you have to base it on your salary as well. For Advancial, for my case, they explained to me it's almost the same thing for the interest. I don't know how. That's how they explained to me. And also in my case, I can pay whenever I want to. Example, I'm only paying like I think $200 or $300 per month. I'm actually paying like $700 a month for that car. So in order for me to finish the loan contract in a shorter period of time, which is really good and more advisable if you can. So if you have more money, do that as well. Number 6, can someone co-sign the loan for me? And Advancial replied, yes, someone can co-sign. If they are in a different state, that is okay as well. It can be who is willing to co-sign for you. Having someone co-sign for you is really nice because especially if they have a good credit score, and most likely they might get an APR around 1 point something to 2% to 3%. That will be financially better as well if you have that option. But unfortunately, not everyone would like to co-sign for you because most of the people here in the US are living through loans as well. So they have their own loans, so they are hesitating to get another loan from different banks. And some of your relatives or some of your colleagues might say that they would like to co-sign for you, but some of them will do the talk but won't do the walk anymore. So you have to make sure that they are really actually willing to co-sign for you before arriving here in the US. So be wary of this as well, okay? Honestly, for me, I should have done this with my brother. Unfortunately, I didn't do my research. I didn't do a lot of things that will help me save a lot of money coming here to the US. So I ended up getting from a local bank, which I paid like 8 point something% for the APR, which is like twice the APR that I'm getting from Advancial right now. So I'm just taking it like a life lesson. Nothing else I can do. So next question, number 7. Can I know if I can be pre-approved even if I am not yet in the US? Since they cannot complete the online processing since we do not have the social security number. And Advancial replied, we'll have to wait for the applicant to arrive in the United States before we can proceed with the pre-approval. So for me, this was a shocking reply. This was new because I know some people before were pre-approved via just applying through online. So because of this, I have to ask them a follow-up questions. So I asked them, I revised the question. Can an applicant know if he or she qualifies under the program before coming to the United States? Then I put in a quote. I remember some of those who applied online before were denied as their employer was not part of the list of the Advancial program. Then my next follow-up question for this is, is there a short list of employers Advancial only approves? Then, and what if he or she doesn't qualify with the program due to her employer not under that particular list? Is there an alternative way for her to get an approval? Because I placed there, someone said they were able to bypass the issue somehow. So I bombarded her with these questions, and her answers were: the applicants are welcome to visit this link, www.joinadvancial.org, to see if they qualify under the I am employee or member of an Advancial Partner Program section. If the employee is not on the list, please reach out to our members service center with this particular number and email address. So let's try your answer. So let's click the link, the www.joinadvancial.org. After clicking, this will lead to the member application page. So for her answer, let's go way down below. Then below, you will see the I am employee or member of an Advancial Partner Organization. So this is where you have to put the name of your employer. So let's try this. For example, Connetics. See? So when you type Connetics, it shows that it has an option for Connetics. And when you click on it, it goes to the next page. So I think it is safe to say that Connetics is like auto approval when it comes to getting a loan from the Advancial. So let's try other employers. Like for my previous employer, Connexus. So if you type Connexus, it shows. So I think it's the same thing with Connetics. So both of them, if you're under those companies, then you can get a loan from Advancial. Then let's try one more time. Let's try Health Carousel. For Health Carousel, if you try to put in, it doesn't show. So maybe for their agency, you have to reach out for the member service center with this particular number or email them better. So it doesn't mean if your employer is not listed on that, it doesn't mean that you really automatically do not qualify for this program. I think someone mentioned or emailed me before or DM me before from Facebook that they were able to do something about this and they were able to get a loan despite not having their list on this particular partnership program for the Advancial. Then since we're on this page, let's explore some of them. Go on top. If you see the list for the items you need to apply online, click on that link. It shows here, email address, US street address, no PO boxes, social security number, which most of us do not have yet, and state issued driver's license or ID, and credit card to fund the account. So the state issues driver's license, you can just switch for the foreign driver's license that you have. Then for the credit and debit card to fund the account, you can actually create together with the application process. So like for me, I do have a debit account with them and a credit card as well. Like I said before, you can get a credit card with them, and I think they're giving like 2,500 for the maximum for the credit card, I mean. So which is really actually very convenient for me. Then if you close that page, behind, you can click on that small link alternative application under the US citizen or permanent resident alien. If you are not a US citizen, simply complete this alternative application. So click on that. That is actually the form I had to fill up in order to send to Advancial. And most likely, those are the documents you have to send to Advancial directly when you arrive here in the US. So it's best for you guys to print this off and fill up those as much as you can, and so that when you arrive here, it will be easier or like a faster transition for you. For me, even though I already have a social security number, I made a mistake on the application process online. I actually had some problems with my social security number. I think I switched some of the numbers, so I actually got like a black or lock account for the Advancial program online. So I have to do this via post mail. So I have to send this, and which take a few more days in order for this to reach there, and it will delay for my getting for the processing of the loan. So if you're like me who already have a social security number, it's best that you make sure that whatever details you're putting in are actually 100% correct. Then I'm not 100% sure if they're really keen about the sizes of the paper, but US standard, we're using A4 sizes here. We don't really use long or short, so it's usually A4. So that's it for the questions. Hopefully you learned something more about the Advancial program, and hopefully this helped you with your processing. So if you want some referral like my previous video, please DM me my Facebook and place the name Advancial for the start of the message. And put in your first name, last name, and your email address. so I can put in your referral list if you need one. For those asking some few questions, before asking me a few questions, would ask if you could browse through my YouTube page first, because most of the questions I'm receiving has already been answered through some of my videos. So please watch them first before asking me questions, because I read most of the videos in order for you guys to have the answer directly. So don't let me spoon feed you anymore. That's not how US works. You have to put in the effort and do it on yourself. So if you learned something from this video or like this video, please click the like button, subscribe button, and please share to your friends. Again, I'm Nurse Juan de la Cruz, your OFW nurse. Thank you for watching. God bless. Bye-bye. Stay safe.